Cosmic Commute, here with Adrian Abeda. So last week I talked to you about Mars and what the planet Mars means. It describes the way we apply our energy. It's how we assert ourselves. It's our energy in terms of both physical, mental. It's also how we go after what we want. It describes the course of action that we take. So today what I'm going to do is tell you about how Mars expresses itself depending on which sign it's in. Okay, let's begin with Mars in the fire signs. Mars naturally rules Aries. It also is a co-ruler of Scorpio. So Mars in a fire sign, as Aries is a fire sign, is quite happy there. Mars in Aries, its natural placement, is assertive and impetuous and bold. It loves challenges, it's competitive, it's fierce. It drives to get what it wants. So that idea that Aries are selfish, Mars in Aries is supposed to be selfish. It goes after what it wants, it's direct. In Leo, it's a little bit calmer in the sense that there's a performance aspect to it. So Mars in Leo is very aware of what other people want from him or her. And Mars in Leo does not like to be criticized because it's always trying to gain some kind of recognition or attention. It's also fierce and intense and bold and creative. So nothing really stands in its way because it finds some sort of a creative approach to get what it wants. Mars in Sagittarius is eager and excitable and enthusiastic, sometimes a little bit moral and self-righteous. It's so excitable. It just wants to jump into things. It wants fun. It also is prone to needing to have lots of different experiences, so it can get a little bit scattered as well. It's chatty and witty, and it's got a very strong sex drive as well. Remember, Mars does describe sex drive, and in the particular signs, it'll describe how it applies itself in that way. Okay, so Mars in water signs. Let's first begin with Mars in Cancer. Mars in Cancer it's a little bit more indirect. Mars in a water sign is not really a happy placement. So Mars in Cancer can be a little bit indirect. It is very protective and defensive. Remember, Cancer wants to protect security, so Mars in Cancer will likely stand up for or protect someone other than themselves. So a little bit moody, broody, and indirect. Mars in Scorpio, the co-ruler, is fierce, intense, passionate, dramatic, and focused. Not outwardly dramatic in the same way that we'll see Mars in a fire sign, but dramatic in terms of it needs to have some kind of challenge. It needs to feel like it is going to possess or win something. So it's a pretty intense placement as well. Also really good at coercing or seducing people, manipulating people as well. Mars in Scorpio understands the undercurrents as well as the overcurrents. Mars in Pisces, not such a happy placement as well as it is in water, and Pisces is a mutable sign, so it's a little bit more, I would say, poetic. It might be a little bit more introverted. It really needs to feel safe in order for it to express itself. And oftentimes the way that it goes about expressing itself is more emotional. There's a tendency for Mars in Pisces as well to back down before it actually asserts itself. So you might see a little bit of a theme there in the water signs, that Mars in a water sign is a little bit more indirect, although more comfortably felt, of course, in Scorpio, its co-ruler. All right, let's move on to the air signs. Mars in the air signs, first being Libra. Mars in Libra is diplomatic, it's polite, it knows how to use relationships to get what it wants. Because it's an air sign too, it's rather intellectual, so it knows how to use words. It knows how to express itself in a very pleasing way in order to get its needs met. Mars in Aquarius. Mars in Aquarius is also pretty powerful. It's more intellectual and principled. In any of the air signs, it has a tendency to be a little bit scattered. So it's more interested in communicating or ideas than maybe follow through or making things happen. So Mars in Aquarius is fierce. You don't want to get in an argument with them because they can be really, really powerful with their words, and they seek evidence to prove things. Mars in Gemini. Mars in Gemini is kind of fun and curious and all over the place. Also uses the power of words, but it too can become very scattered. Any of the mutable signs can. So Mars in Gemini is sort of the social butterfly. It makes connections, but sometimes it can be a little bit too much. Okay, lastly, Mars in our Earth signs. Mars in Capricorn. Mars in Capricorn is focused, it's strategic, it's persevering. It understands that things need to get done through some sort of order or organization. So Mars in Capricorn is going to be incredibly practical and pragmatic. It understands that there is a process to things, so it can often be patient as well, but driven and ambitious. Mars in Taurus. Mars in Taurus is, it's probably the most patient of all. It takes a little bit of time to warm up, but when it does, it is incredibly focused and probably has the most endurance of all the signs, of all the placements, I should say. So Mars in Taurus, it likes projects, it likes to continue to build. But it's not easy to row into action. It takes a little bit of time just to warm up before it really gets going. But when it does, watch out. And you don't want to piss someone off that has Mars and Taurus, because they appear as though they can hold it all together for a long time, but when they explode, they're a bull. Okay, lastly, we've got Mars in Virgo. Mars in Virgo is our analytical and picky, critical placement. It's very methodical. It's also process oriented. So Mars in Virgo, it's very attentive to the details of things. If you get in an argument with somebody with Mars in Virgo, they're going to point out all of the minute facts that you might not even recall. Mars in Virgo is also a little bit more strategic in its approach. It's careful and it's reserved as well. So before it takes action, it wants to be sure that it's going to do it right, might be the best way to describe it. Mars in Virgo is also a little bit sensitive, as it is prone to seeing what's wrong with things instead of always what's right. So you don't want to get in a fight with Mars in Virgo, because they will nag your head off. I have two important people in my life with Mars in Virgo, and I get it from them. All right, there you go. That is Mars through your signs. We're going to leave the realm of the personal planets, and we're going to enter into what are called the boundary planets next time. So stay tuned for Jupiter. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, check out what sign your Mars is in. There's a little tutorial, as I said, on my YouTube channel. If you can't figure it out, you're welcome to send me an email, and I'm happy to let you know what your placement is in. Okay, enjoy your day. Go after it. Be bold and daring. Live into whatever your Mars is in. Okay, take care. Until next time.